Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today with the good old NFL coverage going into week 2 of the 2025 season. I just realized, honestly, that I forgot to grab a drink. I left it over in the other room as I was finishing up my notes coming into this. What I want to do, honestly, is just look back over the last week of football. Week 1, honestly, in the NFL was really, really fun. Honestly, I believe I went 11-5 in my picks. I honestly felt like we had honestly a pretty good week, but I think I watched 5 football games and I listened to one while I was at work. I can honestly remember we kicked off the season with the Dallas game. Um, Going up against the Eagles. The game was close, but I think it's going to be a really tough year for the Cowboys, as it is for the Cowboys each and every year. I think that they're going to have their ups and they're going to have their downs. They really want to find their identity. I really think that I think they know it, but they need to find their defensive unit after trading Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers. I think they took a huge step back, and as well as they made the Green Bay Packers, they pretty much look like a Super Bowl favorite as of now. I understand that it was just a contract; it was about money, and them wondering what Micah Parsons' worth really is. The guy's taking epidurals in order to play football. What is the long lasting effect of that going to be as he's taking hits and giving hits each and every week? Um, I just don't see the longevity of him being able to do that. At what point does he have to be able to shut it down? And what is that going to do to the Packers in the foreseeable future? On Friday night, we had our first YouTube game. I thought that the coverage was really well. I watched it on YouTube TV for the fear of maybe YouTube having glitches, losing the stream or something like that. Just the fact that it was through the television service, I thought that it might hold up better. But from everybody that I talked to that watched it either on their phone or on their television using the YouTube app, it was basically perfect. I heard that NBC was the people that shot it and put it out for them. They just didn't have their commentators doing the game, but that was a fun one. And Justin Herbert, I think he answered a lot of critics. I think he still has a long way to go. But winning the battle in the AFC West over Mahomes, the Chiefs, go ahead and start counting them down. I mean, 0-1. Are you ready to say that this isn't a Super Bowl team? Every single time we doubt this team, they find a way to get it together and come back. There's no way in the world. I don't care if the Chiefs start 0-2 to start this season. I still think that I would put them up there with the Bills as well as the Ravens. And I would think that we'd have to watch the whole football game to find out who's going to come out on the long run. 49ers ended up playing the Seahawks. That was a really close game, as we'll get to with pretty much the lead of week 2. Niners got injured. Niners got really injured. We came into that game pretty banged up, and we left even more banged up. We have a team built on stars, and a lot of our stars are down. But we came from behind. We ended up having our backup tight end Tongan catch a pass that I still don't know how Purdy got it to him. I don't know how he got around a defender in order to catch the ball. This is a tight end. This is our blocking tight end, not the guy who normally catches the ball. I'm sure he had, catches in high school. He might even have been a part of the offense in college. But for the 49ers, we really didn't have plays for this guy. And it was almost like a playground, let's run around and somebody get open kind of play that we did it. It was a big day for our offense. It was a big day for our defense, something that is our biggest question marks on the upcoming season. But it's a long way from now, and we'll have to see where it goes from there. I kind of buried the lead. I did listen to the Raider game versus the Patriots. Um, I believe that the NFL they they need to get their stuff on TV. No more infomercials running. I think that the NFL, I understand you want to sell Sunday ticket, you want to, you have people signing up for that, and then more money coming into the league. But television rights are television rights, and they're worth a lot of money. There should always be two games going at the same time. One on CBS, one on Fox. I understand that you want to make the Fox game um in the afternoon. One of the bigger games of the weekend that's going to rival against Sunday night football to keep you the ratings. There should just be two games on. It's not that I'm knocking against the Raiders and the Patriots, that they were the only game on. I don't even know what other game I would have liked to be on. Probably the Commanders game against the Giants, to see this Commanders team, but I don't know. I thought the Raiders' offense was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Um, the Patriots, I thought, were going to be a much better team. Raiders came out with the win there. There was that one. The Sunday night game between the Ravens and the Bills is going to go down as one of the most craziest games that I have ever seen. I I was sitting on my couch and the score was 40-25 when the Ravens scored. And I said, "Well, that's it. I live on the West Coast. My alarm goes off 4:15 a.m. every morning for me to get up, and I basically give myself minimal amount of time to get ready and get out the door. One of the main reasons is because I don't want to wake anybody up, and it's freaking early in the morning. Um, so I was laying there and I was like, man, I need to get up. And I need to get into bed. It's gonna be an early morning today, and then we'll see what's going down. And somehow in the midst of me trying to get up, the Ravens gave up a touchdown to the Bills. And I was like, well, this honestly got a little bit closer. Um, so I was like, let's see what's going to happen. And I honestly thought it was going to be like the rest of the game, and the Ravens were just going to drive down the field and score a touchdown again. And I was going to be like, see, I told you, you should have gone to bed. And then Derrick Henry fumbled the football. I think after that, I think it was the Bills scoring a touchdown. The Bills defense got a hold. Well, not a holding penalty, but they stopped the Ravens. The Ravens had to punt the ball, and the Bills drove down, kicked the field goal to win the game. I apologize if I missed something in the meme, but Coleman came up huge for the Bills. It seemed like he caught just about every ball. When they needed to get out of bounds, they got out of bounds. When they needed to move the ball, they moved the ball. Man, that was a fun game. Ravens, they start out the season 0-1. I can't remember what the Ravens record was at the beginning of the season last year. I think they were 0-2. Maybe they were 1-2. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But tough draw week one. I think they really stacked the deck in the NFL this week, and they gave us a lot of rivalry games, a lot of in division games that they knew that people were going to want to care about. Monday night's game between the Vikings and the Bears honestly was a come down game. I was watching wrestling at the same time I was watching the first half of the game, and it just honestly wasn't exciting. Vikings looked horrible in the first half. Vikings probably looked horrible in the first three quarters. And then all of a sudden, J.J. McCarthy realized who he was. Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, they looked really, really good on their first drive at the game. And after that, what I thought was going to be the most important part of the 2025 Bears season, the offensive line, the Bears just fell apart. That's probably honestly the best way there was to put it. Vikings came back. Vikings won that game 27-24. A lot of the stuff I listened to sports wise is through Barstool Sports. A lot of the stuff is coming out of Chicago. I love Eddie. I love Chief. I love Big Cat. I even love White Sox Dave. And the post game report, I almost couldn't turn it on the next morning. It hurt to see Big Cat and Eddie on Wake Up Barstool Tuesday morning. I've been there before, man. It sucks. Last year, they really didn't like their coach, but the Bears thought they were going to get better because they brought in Caleb Williams. The offensive line really didn't help them. They really couldn't get anything out there. Now there's reports about the coaching staff, about how bad it was for Caleb, and they really didn't help him out his rookie season. Hopefully, they can get something in place and they can fix this. That's about the only thing I can say. I think their team is better. But it might be a bit before I can pick the Bears again. But that was week 1 in the NFL. I'm not going to go in order because it's about my San Francisco 49ers, and it is the biggest story of the day. Honestly, our prayers were answered. I can start with that. And Jake Moody was cut by the San Francisco 49ers. He was released. They let him go. We ended up bringing in a kicker, formerly of the Carolina Panthers. His name is Eddie Pinheiro. He's going to be there on a 1-year deal. I think that the 49ers did not want to pay attention to the kicking problem. I think that is basically why we were coming out and saying that Jake Moody's job was safe, and they weren't even thinking about bringing in another kicker. I'm not sure if they gave in to demands or, I mean, by watching Shanahan's reactions to a few of the last kicks from Moody, I think he was out there, but I think that if there wasn't a chance of bringing in the kicker, he didn't want to get in his head more than it was. Eddie Pinheiro is an 88% kicker in the NFL. For some reason, NFL.com lists him as a 7th-year veteran. But he only has stats from 5 years. He didn't kick in the 2020 season as well, which would have been his 2nd season in the NFL. He has kicked a year for the Bears, a year for the Jets, and a few for the Panthers. Inside of 30 yards, he's 26 for 26, never missed a kick. 40 to 49 is where it seems he has the most problems. He's 32 for 41, but over 50 yards, he's 11 for 14. His average kick has been made from 37 yards, which is funny because that seems like where he has the most problem, missing those 9 kicks out of 41. Over his career, he's missed 10 extra points. But it kind of seems like not everybody, but almost everybody has problems in that situation. Now, there's no good way to put this. Brock Purdy did not practice today. He has a problem with his toe. He has a problem with his left shoulder. Shanahan has come out and basically said that there is a very small chance that Brock Purdy is going to play against the Saints in week 2. I already made my video yesterday about this game, driving home from work yesterday, saying, you know, maybe this is the game that we sit out Brock Purdy because of the fact that we're not going to have many games like that this year. I know we have a few games this year that I think aren't the hardest, and this is probably one of our easiest, and there's not really going to be a time to rest Brock Purdy. I think our bye is like week 12, maybe week 13. It's way later in the season, and it might be the best. But now having Shanahan come out and say there's a small chance of him playing, and there's a pretty good chance of him not playing the next couple of weeks. I believe we play the Cardinals next. I believe we play the Jaguars, albeit that game. And then I think we play the Rams. The Cardinals are a sneaky team that I don't like, that I don't think that are that great, but they're getting better. Them having, I forgot his name last week, and I forgot it again. The younger wide receiver whose dad played, Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison Jr., Marvin Harrison II. I'm not quite sure what they're calling him, but that guy I think is going to be the new Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald scored more touchdowns against the 49ers in the history of the 49ers. I think he is going to be the second coming of him, and I want to get better before we play that team. And I think the Rams, honestly, unless Stafford just gets hurt, even with Stafford hurt, that means Garoppolo plays. And I love Jimmy enough to say that Jimmy's got a chance of beating us. The Rams team is good. That's like one of the first really good teams that I'm scared of playing in the season for the 49ers. Now, also at practice, Juan Jennings did not practice. They say that the injury is not as bad as they thought it was going to be. No word if he is going to suit up and play. George Kittle was put on the injured list. He is going to be out for weeks. Brandon Ayuk is already down. He is not coming back until week 6. This leads our offense with Ricky Pearsall. We have Christian McCaffrey, and then we have Kendrick Bourne, who is our new signee. We have he's going to be coming to us from the New England Patriots. He is a past 49er. He had his best season, I believe, in 2019 when we had Jimmy G as our quarterback. We had Deebo Samuels. We brought in Emmanuel Sanders from the Broncos to be our number 2, which pushed Bourne down. But Bourne still caught some balls. I remember him, but I'll tell you the truth. Like, I don't remember him. I didn't love him, and when he left, I didn't, cry. Anybody is somebody at this point. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but maybe Tongan, who caught the game winner last week, maybe he's going to become some offensive weapon that's going to fill in and be the new George Kittle. I would love it. I mean, George's reaction at the end of the game last week was awesome. Mac Jones, I was glad when we brought him in. I don't believe he is the best backup quarterback in the league, but at least he has past history of starting, and at least we've seen that, like with Sam Bradford, who came in, who, Sam Bradford looked like a failure from the Jets. I apologize. Best way to say it, that we brought in. I think we built him up. We got him ready for the NFL in a different way than the Jets were able to do. He left us. I don't think he was supposed to be the number 1 option in Minnesota, but when McCarthy went down, he filled in, and now he's got a big money deal, and he is the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. The same thing can happen for Mac Jones. I think we only brought him in on a 1-year deal, and I think his plan is to come here, get reps, be able to be seen, and then when there's a job open, maybe the Browns are looking for a quarterback next year. I mean, maybe he could end up going there. I mean, I don't think that's the best situation for him, but that was the one spot that came to mind that might be looking for a quarterback next season. But the 49ers, we brought in Matt White, a former Jet. I haven't heard of him. I can't think. I remember when Matt White was looked at as he might be the future for the Jets. And then I think the Aaron Rodgers plan threw him out of whack, and he just went to the sideline. I don't know how long he's been out of the league. I don't know why he's looking for a job as of right now, but that could be it. I'll tell you this much. The 49ers could still win this game. The Saints are honestly that bad. That's the way it could be. But maybe we're wrapping up a big present and we're handing it off to New Orleans. But I won't be at work. I'll be on my couch, 10 a.m. on Fox. Saints versus Niners. Let's get it on. This week on Thursday, our first Thursday video our first Thursday Prime Video game of the week is going to be the Washington Commanders versus the Green Bay Packers. Both of these teams, honestly, last year, if like this is like full tilt and this is like the Super Bowl, these guys were like 90%. They looked like they were really ready to roll. Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, I think, were a little bit ahead of schedule. But I think the veterans that they have on that team and him just worked well together, and it put them over the top for Mr. Quinn, and they turned out to be a really good football team. Um, I think that they could keep growing on what they are building there, but honestly, it seems that like there's a big thing going around that even though Jaden Daniels is a new quarterback on it and on his second season, the Washington Commanders are an aging, old team, oldest team in the league. Why, when you look at the other side, the Green Bay Packers, for the third season in a row, are the youngest team in the league. So it's kind of like they're setting themselves up for the future. And maybe Washington is just trying to put together a team in this window of Jaden Daniels before they start have to paying their quarterback and the window closes for them. So both of these teams are coming in 1-0. The Commanders beat the Giants 21-6 last week. The Packers beat the Lions 27-13. I think the Packers over the Lions was a bigger win in my mind. I think a lot of people thought the Lions were going to be right in this NFC group of teams that is just itching for a chance to get to the Super Bowl. But we had Jordan Love, 188 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. We had their running back Jacobs going for 66 yards and a touchdown. The other side, Jaden Daniels last week, 230 yards passing with a touchdown. Their running back Merritt, 82 yards with a touchdown. Deebo Samuel, former 49er, no touchdowns, but 7 catches for 77 yards. The tight end, Zach Ertz, he caught a touchdown. So the Washington offense is there. Honestly, in my mind, I want to pick the Commanders in this game, but I'm going to pick the Packers. I don't even really have a real big reason why. Micah Parsons and the defense, Micah Parsons was able to get 1 sack when he took down Jared Goff last week. But my whole deal with him is that the guy is getting pumped with epidurals in order to play football. I think it's only getting worse from here to the point where he has to get some sort of an injury that shuts him down, that they're not going to be able to shoot him up to get him back up onto the football field. So that's the reason why I'm taking the Packers to win this game. Packers are 1-0. The next few weeks, they play the Browns. They play the Cowboys. They have an early bye. And then they play the Bengals, which seem like they have a lot of offensive problems. This was supposed to be like Joe Burrow's like coming of age MVP season, and they kind of sputtered and couldn't get it going in week 1. So I mean, like the Packers, they honestly look like they could be. They could be 1, 2. They could be 3-0 before they have their biggest game of the year. But that early bye, I think, is only going to hurt them. I've always hated it when the Niners have that early bye. The Niners having a bye way late in the year, that kind of scares me at the same time because it's almost like somewhere in the middle is where I want to have it. The Washington Commanders, they're gonna play this one, then they're gonna play the Raiders. They're going to travel to the Falcons, and then they end up playing the Chargers. So I think the Chargers on week 5, that looks like it's going to be their toughest game to start their season. So if they just keep building on this, let's see honestly where they're going to be now. To end this, we're going to go over to the YWC Touchdown Pick'em League. And I got 11 wins. I went 11 for 16, but I am somehow in 6th place. So we're going to be looking for some foreseeable winners here. This week, we have a Super Bowl rematch which is going to be the Sunday afternoon game on Fox. We have 2 Monday Night Football games on ESPN. We have a 4 and a 7 o'clock start, which is going to be a 1 o'clock and a 4 o'clock start. I think that's the reason why they bumped up Monday Night Raw. Honestly, in my opinion, I would have just kept it the same time to try and to make the show last longer than Monday Night Football, and then move it up the following weeks when there's only going to be one game. That honestly kind of surprised me. In years past, they did the 2 Monday night games on week 1 to kick off the season. I'm not sure why they did it week 2, but we're going to be picking Green Bay to beat Washington on Thursday. That's going to be the prime football game of the week. If you don't have Amazon Prime, I don't think you're trying. I mean, that's just the way it is. Like, who out there is still buying things off of Amazon and paying the $2.99 shipping and waiting the 5 days to receive them? Most of the stuff, honestly, it seems like if you don't get in 2 days, you get it faster, and you're not having to pay that shipping charge. One of the worst things I think grinds a lot of people's gears is paying for shipping on almost anything in the world these days because of Amazon. We're going to be looking at the Sunday games in the morning. We're going to take Cincinnati to beat Jacksonville. We're going to take the Cowboys to beat the Giants. We're going to take the Lions to beat the Bears. We're going to take the Rams to beat the Titans. It's going to be fun to see Cam Ward out there. We're going to take New England to beat the Dolphins. I'll tell you this much. If the Dolphins are really as bad as people say they are, Mike McDaniel, I will fly out to Miami and I will load up the U-Haul and I will drive you back to San Francisco. I would love to have you back. No hard feelings. It is what it is. I'm glad you got paid, but let's bring it back. Offensive coordinator, I would love to have you. I am still going to take the Niners over the Saints in what looks like it's going to be one hell of a game of backups playing on the offensive unit for the 49ers. I'm going to take the Bills to beat the Jets. I'll take the Steelers. God, I did not think that Aaron Rodgers still had that left in the tank. 4 passing touchdowns. I'll take the Steelers to beat Seattle. Seattle 0-2 to start the season. I apologize. The Ravens to rebound and beat the Browns. Browns got a lot of bad luck about their kicker because it's almost like they're saying that if he would have made the extra point, they would have won the game. They would have tied the game, and then they would have had to figure out where they go from there. It's almost like the Cleveland kicker, who I didn't know what his name is, got more headlines than Jake Moody did. And I'm like, do you guys even watch the Niners? Do you guys watch West Coast football? We'll take the Broncos to beat the Colts. We're going to take the Cardinals to beat the Panthers. The Cardinals going to be starting 2-0 to start the season if they win that game after beating the Saints week 1. Hopefully that's a little bit of a false flag out there. Super Bowl rematch, game of the week, 125. I think this honestly is the biggest game of the week. We'll take the Chiefs to beat the Eagles just out of spite, honestly, to tell you the truth. We're going to take the Vikings to beat the Falcons. That one's a little bit of a hard game for me to pick right there. First Monday night game, we're going to take the Bucks to beat the Texans. And then to close it out, we'll take the Chargers to beat the Raiders to close out Monday Night Football for week 2. So that's going to be everything out there. Hope everybody out there has a good week. You guys get some winners, and we'll see you guys down the road. Oh, shoot. I got to go over here and close the stream, dumbass.